Hong Kong's Legislative Council met for the first time today after a week of mass demonstrations against the government's extradition bill. Opposition lawmakers spent hours grilling Secretary for Security John Lee this morning about the police's excessive use of force during clashes with protesters outside last Wednesday.
A handful of protesters remain camped outside the Legislative Council building. They say they cannot accept Chief Executive Carrie Lam's apology issued yesterday.
We are still angry because actually she said nothing to reply our wants. We have talked about what we want, but she apologized. But actually, she's apologizing to the China at the pro-China parties only, not to the Hong Kong citizens.
Now that the extradition bill has been suspended, protest organisers and student groups have been planning their next steps. The Hong Kong Federation of Students has called on protesters to surround the central government offices in Admiralty on Friday.
While the Civil Human Rights Front, which led last Sunday's 2 million strong protest, is starting a new campaign around Hong Kong. They will be filing complaints against the police over the handling of protesters on June 12th.
Roland Lim has more from Hong Kong. He joins us now. Roland, there seems to be a lack of unity among the protest groups.
Well, some internet chat groups are circulating an ultimatum that the government respond to their demands by Thursday, 5 p.m. tomorrow. This is essentially how it works. It was anonymous postings that actually galvanized tens of thousands on June 12th to protest at the Legislative Council buildings. The protest demands are still the same: for Mrs. Lam to resign, withdrawal of the extradition bill, investigation into police action during the last Wednesday's protests, to stop classifying the clashes as rioting, and to release all those arrested over the protest and to drop their charges against them. The Hong Kong Federation of Students, which represents student unions of several universities here, have responded to such calls by actually calling on the protesters to surround government headquarters on Friday morning and to initiate what they're calling a civil disobedience action on their own, that if the government fails to respond. Now, their protest action is intended to be peaceful. Subway operator MTR has also issued a plea for protesters not to take action after the Thursday deadline. Now, there have been calls on social media for protesters to once again disrupt services during rush hour by intentionally delaying trains, by blocking the train doors, or feigning injury, much like what happened on June 12th when the bill was scheduled to be tabled. As you mentioned, the Civil Human Rights Front, organizer of the 2 million strong march on Sunday, is calling for an even bigger turnout for the annual rally that it regularly holds on July 1st. It's usually a chance for NGOs, trade unions, social workers to air their grievances on a public holiday. That's the day the Hong Kong administration was handed back to China, also known as established HKR Establishment Day. They added that this extradition movement doesn't belong to any one group, and if the people of Hong Kong decide to spontaneously protest in a peaceful, non-violent manner, they would also join in.
Roland, besides the extradition bill, the government has also delayed the national anthem bill. Tell us more about that.
Yes, it doesn't come as a surprise with the controversy surrounding the extradition bill far from over. The contentious bill of the national anthem bites dust for now. We had LegCo President Andrew Leung saying on Wednesday that the administration has taken the contentious bill off the table. So it won't be discussed before LegCo takes its summer break from June 19th. That's next month. The bill's second reading was due to take place on July 3rd, before the summer recess. So no word if it will be brought back in October when LegCo reconvenes. But according to the proposed legislation, to remind everyone, anyone found guilty of misusing or insulting the March of Volunteers anthem would have faced a fine of $6,400 and 3 years in prison. The LegCo president says that there are many economic and livelihood issues that lawmakers still need to handle first. And both sides of the political camp, pro-establishment and opposition lawmakers, also welcome the news, because any contentious legislation now would only be bound to add fuel to the fire.
All right, many thanks for that. Roland Lim speaking to us from Hong Kong.